Welcome back to the online sessions on DCCN. In today's session, we go with the flow control method. So in the previous session, we are done with the line control methods. There are two line control methods: inquire, acknowledge, and then the poll select method. So in today's session, we go with flow control method. There are two important methods under this flow control. Now, what is the purpose of flow control? That we already know that from the previous session that flow control is normally used to manage with the managing with the rate of data transmissions, and also to control the amount of data that is normally going to get transmitted through the channel. That means using flow control method, you can perform two activities. One is that controlling the amount of data that you are transmitting on the channel, and also rate of the data transmission. It can be done by using the flow control methods. These two are very, very important that we have to really bother about. Now, why this flow control is essential? Usually the flow control is very much essential because the source computer is normally going to transmit its own data onto the network to a remote receiving computer. So here the problem is that the receiving computer may be busy doing some other work. That is one possibility of rejecting the signal transmitted by the sender. What is another possibility? The receiving computer may not be in a position to take this data because of its lack of speed of operation. The speed at which the transmitter is going to transmit the data, if it is very much if it is going to not matching with the speed of the receiving station, that means if the speed of receiving computer is very much less than the speed of operation of the transmitting device, then also the receiver cannot really receive the signals, cannot receive the data transmitted by the sending computer. These two are the major problems in the data communications in the two computers called sender and the receiver when we are transmitting signals to a long distance communications. So now to avoid all such problems, we normally going to have a functionality provided in the data link layer, which is known as the flow control method. So using this flow control method, we normally going to control the rate of data transmission, and also we control the amount of data that can be transmitted or that can be exchanged between source and the destination computers before waiting for an acknowledgement. That means we normally going to perform this before waiting for an acknowledgement. So there are two methods in this. One is going to be stop and wait method. Another one is going to be the sliding window method. Okay. So the more popular method is going to be the sliding window method, because this method is going to be the fastest method. Sliding window method is going to be the fastest method of data transmission than the stop and wait method. Anyway, in the industry, people are going to use sliding window method because it is fastest than the sliding window method. So as we have in the syllabus, we normally going to discuss about this stop and wait kind of a method. So in this stop and wait method, the sender sends a data frame and waits for an acknowledgement from the receiving station or a destination computer before sending the next frame. That means first sender, if at all sender is having some data, it simply transmits the data, that frame, onto the data link, onto the medium, onto the line. Then it waits. That is why it is called as tap and wait. It waits until it receives the acknowledgement in the given time frame. In the given time frame. So if the source station is going to receive the acknowledgement, positive acknowledgement, then it is going to send the another frame. That is, it's going to send a message frame 2. It waits for some couple of time period for a positive acknowledgement. If it gets, once again it's going to transmit like this until the data transfer takes place completely. This process will go on continuously. Now at the end of the transmission, when the source station has got nothing to transmit, it is going to simply send a message to the destination station, that sending a signal called EOT signal to the as a message 3. Okay, that is called end of transmission to the station C. Then receiving station is normally going to get relieved from the receiving activity from source computer to the destination computer, so that receiving station can able to perform its own activities when it is going on. Okay, so this is what which is happening here in this method as a wait method. That means it is going to wait for a couple of time period until it receives the acknowledgement. Now, why it is called as stop method? The stop is something like when the source station receives negative acknowledgement, then the source station is going to stop itself in transmitting the next frame. So this is what basically the stop in wait is normally going to normally going to get done. That means if the source station receives a negative acknowledgement, it is not going to transmit any further frames. Then control action should take place on this station, why it is not really transmitting and all. There is going to be another set of instructions. Supervising signals has to be transmitted to station receiving station about the reasons of why it is unable to collect the signals from receiving station. So this is what the process called the stop and wait kind of a flow control method. And another flow control method is going to be called sliding window method. What is the meaning of sliding window? Sliding window means what? It should maintain, that means the source computer and the destination computer are going to maintain some buffer registers. Some buffer registers of limited size, say 8 frames. A limited size is going to be basically, we always start with 8 frames. So imagine that limited frame size for each and every source and destination computers is going to be, say 8 bytes, 8 frames. So every station, that is source station and destination station, imagine that they are having the temporary buffer registers to store 8 frames of data. And using this window known as a sliding window, the frames are going to get slided, okay, using these two windows. That means the communication is normally going to get taken place using this particular sliding window concepts, where temporary registers are going to get stored. All the frames in the temporary registers are simply used to transfer the frames at a time from this particular sliding window concept. Thereby, all the 8 frames can be transferred at a time in this particular sliding window concept. Thereby, the speed of communication is normally increased in comparison with the flow control method. So therefore, the sliding window concept is a useful concept in terms of achieving the higher data rates. So whenever we wanted to achieve higher data rates, we normally going to prefer the sliding window kind of a concept. Okay. So here in this method, extra buffer is provided by both the sending and receiving devices, either to transmit or to receive the transmitted frames. Okay, and while keeping in waiting at these two devices respective. That means these are also going to support the waiting time period also. That means so that immediately as and when the data is received by the receiving station, the data will not go into the into the into the memory location of the receiving computer. It first goes into the buffer temporary buffer memory, where it stores the frames, where it stores the data frames transmitted by the transmitter. Okay, similarly same kind of operation is normally going to get performed at the transmitter. So the transmitting station will not transmit the data immediately onto the line. First of all, it transmits the data into the buffer. Then from the buffer, all these frames are normally going to get transmitted after performing handshaking between source and the destination. So thereby the efficiency of data transmission is normally going to increase, and hence throughput is also going to increase because of this particular sliding window concept. So this method of managing the account at transmitter and receiver in terms of the data frames, okay, depends on the size of the window under consideration, sliding window, size of the window. So the frames are numbered based on modulo n operation. So here the modulo is going to take the n is going to take the values from 0 to n minus 1. As such, the size of the window can be called as equal to n minus 1 window. So the size of the window can be called as n minus 1 window. We normally used to call this as n minus window size. Say for example, if you are transmitting the 8 frames, then we normally have a 8 minus 1, that is 7. That means the size of the window is going to be 7. So using these frames, this is known as called as a modulo 8 window. That means we call that type of window is going to be as a modulo 8 window. If the number of frames you're going to store going to be 8, we simply call that window going to be called as a modulo n window. So like this, using this window concept, we normally going to transmit the frames. So maximum of n minus frames can be sent before waiting for acknowledgement. So for the first time, what happens here? The sending station is going to transmit n minus 1 frames to the maximum. That means n minus 1 means we are going to start from 0 counting. So n minus 1 means if n is equal to 8, n minus 1 means 7. So 0 to 7 frames, total 8 frames are going to get transmitted if you take modulo 8 window frame, modulo window concept. Then without waiting for acknowledgement, first of all, they are going to get sent. So now what the receiver frame initially will do, it's simply going to receive including one field which contains number of the number of frames which are going to be there in the next transmission. Suppose the sender receives the positive acknowledgement with modulo 8 counter, then it comes to the conclusion that the frames numbered 0, 1, 2, 3, so on up to 7 have been received by the receiver, and it is going to retransmit the other frames. Other way around, say for example, if the sender is going to receive acknowledgement with only numbering as true, it is understood by the sender that the frames 0, 1, 2, 3 have been 0, 1, 0, 1, 2 have been received by the receiver. Then the sender has to retransmit frames from 3. So that already these frames are stored before they are transmitted in the sender buffer register. So from this buffer register, it is going to retransmit the frames numbering 3 to once again 8. Now same process is going to get continued between the source and the destination computers. Okay, so this is what basically the flow control method which we can think of. So this process I can explain. I'll try to explain using the slides also now. Okay. Now let us try to discuss these functions using the slides. Thereby you understand in a more better manner. So this is a data link layer. Now there are 7 layers like application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. And we're dealing with the functions of the data link layer. There are 3 functions of data link layer known as line discipline, flow control, and error control functions. Okay. Now this line control method, yeah. So data link layer normally going to have the 3 functions: line discipline, flow control, and error control. So line discipline is normally going to solve, answer a question that who should send the data now. So that means what, whenever a communication is to be done, either the primary station has to transmit data or the secondary station has to transmit data. Who has to transmit? Who has to receive? So that particular kind of thing is addressed by the line discipline method. So after it is been done, that means who has to transmit, who has to receive. Okay, that has been deceived. Then after that, at what speed data has to be transmitted, at what speed data has to be received, has to be really managed here. So that means that can be controlled by using the flow control method. So how much data may be sent and at what speed data normally going to get sent is addressed by the flow control method. Then after we understand that, okay, who has to send, who has to receive decided by using the line discipline, then at what speed and what amount of data has to be transmitted understood by flow control method. After that, you should bother about the errors in the data. So how much errors can be detected and how many errors can be corrected. That can be done by using the error control method. So with these three basic functionalities, we complete the data communication between source and the destination computers. So let us go with this disciplines independent. Already we discussed this line discipline. It is normally going to come up with two methods: inquire, acknowledge, poll select methods. So inquire acknowledge is normally going to have a communication between two computers called as station A and station B. So it normally going to provide a solution to the questions: who should start the communication first, either station A or station B. So usually station for the inquire acknowledge is normally used whenever station A want to transmit signals to the station B based on the inquire acknowledge methods. So how can one station be sure that other is ready for transmission using the acknowledgement? So station A sends an inquire signal to station B asking for its permission, that asking station B that it could able to receive data or not. So station B is going to send an acknowledgement signal to station A telling that I am ready to accept your data. Then station A is going to send its message. This is what inquire acknowledge operations going to get performed in this particular method. So as we were talking here, we are going to consider the time scale here. We are going to consider time scale on the vertical axis, and there is station A and station B. There is a station A and station B on the time axis. Now station A and station B are connected at remote places. That means they are not connected in a very short distance. They are in data communications, they'll be connected at very far away distances. Now in that thing, we normally going to have the communications now. Okay. Now, what are the things which are going to happen now? First of all, there should be an establishment of connection between station A and station B. So as I was talking to you, whenever station A has got data to transmit to station B, it is going to establish the connection by using inquire, acknowledgement, handshaking signals. So by using the inquire, acknowledge, handshaking signals, the inquire, this particular method is going to establish the connection. So station A sends inquire signal to station B asking for its permission to receive data, whether it is ready or not ready. So if the station B is ready, it sends a signal called acknowledgement, a positive acknowledgement to station A. Then with these two signals, a connection is going to get established. Then station A starts transmitting its data to station B. Once station B receives, it sends acknowledgement. Then after it receives acknowledgement, then station A sends the next message, message 2 to station B. And similarly, the handshaking, by these handshaking signals, data and post acknowledge continuously, all the data is going to get transferred from station A to station B. Now if the station at the end of transmission from station A, it sends a end of transmission signal to station B, thereby it releases all the connections which have been made between station A and station B. That means for a long distance communication, the connection is always going to be a virtual connection. The connection is always going to be the virtual connection, and this can be really detached very easily. Now another point of discussion is going to be the multi-point discipline. So here this poll select is normally implemented for a multi-point discipline. That means in a poll select kind of communication, usually we are going to have one primary device, a centralized system called as primary, known as master, and there are so many slaves connected on the same line. Basically it is going to be like a bus architecture. On a same line, many secondaries are normally going to get connected. So this type of connection is known as multi-point connection. That means multiple points are connected onto the same line, therefore it is called as a multi-point discipline kind of a line connection. Now this, whenever this kind of architecture network is connected here, we normally use the poll select method. So it normally, what is the question it answers is who has the right to use the channel. That means secondary A, B, C cannot use the single line simultaneously. So that means if station A is using the line to communicate with primary, station B and C should be in ideal stage. Similarly with all other stations. Okay, so that is what the communication which is happening between these two. Now to have this kind of a communication, let us say first of all, how we normally use select signal. Select signal is normally used whenever primary is going to transmit data to the selected secondary station. Say for example, primary want to select secondary station C, then the primary is going to send a select signal with the address of station C in the uh, handshaking signal. Then this select C will be has to be there here because it is selecting station C here. So this select C is being received by the station C because the address is going to get matched with the address of the station C, and station C is going to simply receive this particular select signal. All other stations like A, B, C, A, B, D, E, F, all the stations are going to simply reject this particular select signal. Now, if secondary C is ready to accept the data from primary station, it is going to send a positive acknowledgement to the primary. Once after primary receives positive acknowledgement, then the primary starts sending its data packets to the secondary C. So once it receives one packet, it sends once again positive acknowledgement to primary that it has received packet 1, then it sends another packet 2. So when we are talking this in terms of data link layer, we should talk in terms of frames. As I told you already, when you are talking data of a data link layer, we have to speak in terms of frames. Therefore, this data will talk in terms of frames: frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4, so on and so forth, as different frames now. So on and so forth as different frames now. Okay, so therefore we normally going to say data means we transmit data in terms of frames. We transmit data in terms of frames. So frame 1 data transmitted, frame 1 data is going to get received. Frame 1 data is transmitted, frame 1 data is normally going to get received. So like that, various frames of data are normally going to get communicated with the things over there. So thereby we normally going to have this kind of a communication. So using select signal, what happens is that a primary is normally going to select data to the selected secondary stations. This is what we have understood previously. Now similarly, let us say pole. Why we use pole signal? Let us see why we use pole signal. So in the case of pole signal, what happens is whenever the primary want to receive data from secondary, the primary is going to select a polling signal to the secondary. If the, say for example, primary want to receive the data from secondary station, say primary want to know the status of secondary, in that it has sent the polling signal to secondary. Imagine that the secondary A has sent a negative acknowledgement. Means what? The secondary A, because of some reasons, is not ready to send the status signals or any other signals to the primary station. Then primary station will send a polling signal to secondary B. So if secondary B is ready to accept the signals, then immediately it's going to send a its data available to it to the primary station. So along with polling signal also, the primary can embed the data, what kind of data it expects from station B. It can always going to put that over in this particular frame, data frame. Then it sends a data frame to the primary station. So if primary is, then primary after receiving sends a positive acknowledgement. If it receives it, fantastic. The data has been, and primary secondary B understands that data has been received by the primary. If it receives negative acknowledgement, it once again retransmits the data frame to the primary station. So similarly, same kind of process is going to get continued for all the other secondary stations using the pole signal. So remember that this pole select is normally used for two basic purposes. Whenever primary want to transmit data to secondaries, it uses select signal. Whenever primary expects data to get received from the secondaries, it is normally going to use the pole signal. So it is going to pole many secondaries to retrieve data from the secondaries. So this is what we normally going to have, the pole select kind of a method. The next method is going to be called as what? Flow control method. So this flow control method has got two sub methods. One is called stop and wait sliding window method. So in stop and wait method, we send one frame at a time. One data frame is sent at a time. In the case of sliding window, as we discussed, sliding window is normally used to send several data frames at a time based on the size of the window. If window size is 8 frames, it can transmit 8 frames at a time. If the window size, it always going to have modulo n kind of data frames. So if it is going to have 10 frames can transmit, it can transmit 10 frames like that. So based on the size of the frame, it can transmit that many data frames simultaneously at a time, use in this particular flow control method. Let us understand the operation now. Stop and wait method. In the stop and wait method, sender A, if at all it has got some data, it is going to transmit the data to the receiver, and it waits for a waiting time period here until it receives the acknowledgement signal. So in before within this waiting time period, if the sender receives positive acknowledgement from receiver, it transmits the next data frame to the receiver. Like that, the communication is going to take place between sender and the receiver. At the end of data transmission, the sender is going to transmit a end of transmission signal to receiver. So like this, the waiting time is normally going to be there both for uh, you know um, sender, and also here also waiting time is going to be there. So that means the sender has to wait for a waiting time period for the acknowledgement for the from the receiver. Okay, so like this, and after it sends the acknowledgement signal, receiver is also going to wait for the waiting time period. That means in this waiting time period, receiver is going to perform its internal tasks. So like that, the stop and wait is normally going to get processed. Then what is stop? When it is going to get stopped? When the sender receives negative acknowledgement, the sender is going to stop transmitting its data to the receiver packet. Then it is going to handle this problem by transmitting some supervisory signals to rectify the problems there in the receiver. And pole select also will be handshaked after this. Say for example, receiver is unable to take the data, then it sends supervisory signals to this, and using supervisory signals, it understood that in receiver some software has been corrupted. So therefore, if the software is corrupted, it is understood by the sender, which is called a primary. Then primary is going to ask for the data which is there inside the receiver, so that it can transmit the configuration file to the receiver, so that the receiver system can get configured itself after it receives the configuration file. So all that is what part of the data communications which is normally going to happen. Then last concept is sliding window concept. So as I was discussed about, there are 8 data frames in a single window. Say example, for example, say 3 4 5 6 7 0 1. That means the data frames are going to start from 0 ending at 7. Altogether there are 8 data frames. So this is known as the collection of all these frames are considered as a window for us. Then in this window, what we are going to have, let us see. So at sender side, you're going to have one window. At receiver side, you're going to have another window. At sender side, the data is transmitting in this direction, let us suppose, from left to right. Now here, the data from here is going to move by frame. So once after this particular window becomes empty, then this particular frame is normally going to move from one frame, one entire frame, one entire window to the next window. Like that, the data is normally going to get transmitted here. So this wall moves to the right frame by frame when the frame is sent, and here this wall is going to move with respect to the entire window. That means once this all these frames 0 1 2 3 4 and 5 are transmitted totally, then this entire window will be simply shifted towards right. That is what this, after it receives the acknowledgement signal from the station. So let us view this on the receiver side window now. And the receiver side also same thing is going to happen now. Receiving also going to happen frame by frame. So a window is been allocated to this. Once all the frames are received, then this window is normally going to get transferred to the next window based on the acknowledgement here. So that means this wall on the left hand side is going to move to the right frame by frame, not by window. When a frame is received, so first zero frame is received, one frame is received, like that frame by frame is going to get transferred. And this side, this wall moves to the right, the size of several frames at a time when an acknowledgement is sent. So it means after the receiving station sends a positive acknowledgement that it has received all the data frames, then this entire window will be shifted. Sometimes what happens is receiving window could not receive all the frames. It may receive 0, 1, 2. Then the receiver is going to send the acknowledgement with the 0, 1, 2 frames only. Means what? How many data frame now? Still 3, 4, 5, 6 has to be received by the receiving window. Then the transmitter system or a sender system has to retransmit 3, 4, 5 and 6 frames which are available in the transmitter buffer window or sender buffer window. Then it retransmits these frames. So once after they are collected by the receiving window, once after the receiving window is send acknowledgement to the sender with these frames has been received, with this frame list which has been received, then this entire receiver window will be simply transmitted to the next window with the MD number of slots. So like that, the communication is normally going to take place between these two stations. So this is how we normally going to use the sliding window concept in the line. Now the same data frames you can use here, like how we have used data frames. So here only we are going to use only one data frame, but in the examination we explain the same sliding window concept by using the vertical time axis. Instead of single data chunk, you provide all data chunks, maybe 7, 6, 4, 5 data chunks. So you provide all the data chunks for its transmission. This is what the difference here we're going to have in the sliding window concept, explanation of the concept. So in the examination, remember, explain these these functionalities with the help of this particular handshaking signals, both for stop and wait functionality as well as sliding window concept. So after explain sliding window with the windows, once again redraw such a handshaking model of the data communications and explain the sliding window also. Only change you have to brought here is, instead of single data chunk, you please consider inside this data, inside this window, consider this as a window. Inside this window, you're going to have the data frames, say some 0 to 7 data frames. You consider that and explain the operation. That's it. Same operation is normally being explained. Right. So this is how we have to explain the operations on the functions of the data link layer. Right. So thank you very much for today's session. Next session, we go with the error control method, which is also very, very important functionality in the practical applications. Thank you very much for the today's session.